I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
Sophie, you need to get out of this room.
Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and John was her ninth.
I just can't believe he left me for her.
He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man.
Sophie, come on. You can't stay like this forever.
I feel so useless, Emily.
Listen, I've got something for you.
Emily threw a concert ticket at me.
Here, take this. It's a concert at the university town near your home.
A concert?
Yes. Ride your electric bike, look at some male college students, and ease your mood.
Male college students?
Yes. Full of youthful energy, they'll infuse you with fresh vitality. Help you rediscover yourself and feel renewed.
Maybe you're right. Thanks, Emily.
I decided to take Emily's advice and go to the concert. The feeling of being dumped is probably like this: neglecting to eat and sleep, turning into a useless person, staying in the room, forgetting to eat.
Sophie, don't tell me you don't want to go out.
I was about to open my mouth but closed it again.
It's at the university town near your home. Ride your electric bike, look at some male college students, and ease your mood.
Male college students?
Yes. Full of youthful energy, they'll infuse you with fresh vitality. Help you rediscover yourself and feel renewed.
At the concert, the place was packed with college guys. Oh no, the concert is really lively. I sat down with a KFC family bucket, surrounded by various handsome college guys. But soon I noticed something. Because all the college guys brought college girls to the concert. What's worse, their family buckets were bigger. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her ninth. He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her ninth. He resolutely ended things with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young woman. Clearly, he thought he was that person. Ryan's eyes turned slightly red from the kiss.
Are you serious, little brother? Are you going to cry?
I'm fine.
His bangs obscured his expression.
How about a chicken leg to cheer you up?
He took it and started eating. Emily called.
How's it going? Any young blood making you glow, excited, wild, and insatiable?
Oh, shut up. I pressed the hang-up button, feeling a bit guilty. I looked up and met Ryan's gaze. His face clearly said, "Don't worry about me, I didn't hear anything." I slowly lowered my head and saw the student ID hanging around his neck. Name, David. Emily had just ended her relationship with John, who had left her for another woman named Jessica.
I can't believe he left me for Jessica. She changes boyfriends every month. John is her ninth.
John had broken up with Emily because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. Sophie broke up with her boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
He left me for Jessica. She changes boyfriends every month, and John was her ninth.
I can't believe he thought he was the one to make her settle down.
John believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. Emily saw me energetically starting work and came over gossiping.
Sophie, are you hiding something from me?
I looked at her mischievous expression, feeling a bit uneasy. Silently, I closed the novel page.
Indeed, a new love is the key to moving on from pain.
Emily said deeply, placing a fist under her chin and closing her eyes, transforming into a philosopher. A photo appeared in front of me. It was the moment I forcefully kissed a man at the concert. If you zoomed in, you could even see the fried chicken crumbs at the corner of my mouth. I hate this internet age. I hate it. I had broken up with John because he had met Jessica. Jessica was known for changing boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. He resolutely ended things with me, believing that every Casanova who settles down encounters an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person.
Olivia, I didn't expect our fate to be so intertwined that we would meet again.
I laughed it off. Do you live across the street? Then we are neighbors now.
Yes, I still have to go to work, so I have to leave now.
But it's Sunday. Do you still need to work?
His big eyes were full of confusion, looking at me in my pajamas and flip-flops, with a headband on. Yes, I was just about to go downstairs to buy groceries. I stood there awkwardly. David sat on my couch, sipping water obediently.
Thank you, Olivia. The furniture hasn't been moved in completely, and a lot of things are still missing. I might need your help again in the future.
His eyebrows drooped, and his tone was sincere. I softened too. Who could refuse a talking puppy?
It's okay, you don't need to call me Olivia, just call me Sophie.
Okay, Grace.
This kid, why is he so disobedient? I didn't mention a word about the incident at the concert. But David asked me about it.
Grace, did you also kiss people wildly at concerts before?
What kind of question is that? I stood up immediately, my face turning red with urgency.
How could that be possible? Do I look like that kind of person?
David smiled, his eyes curved.
That's good. I thought you were a heartbreaker, kissing people and not taking responsibility.
I froze in place.
What?
Grace, aren't you going to take responsibility for me?
David also stood up, but he was a head taller than me. He leaned down slightly to look at me. He looked so innocent. It made me feel extremely guilty. This is a young college student, only 20 years old.
What do you want?
My voice was a bit weak when I said this. After all, good-looking people are always dangerous. Moreover, my phone balance was down to 3 digits at the end of the month.
I haven't decided yet.
He smiled again, like a Welsh corgi that had just received a reward. Emily told me that Chloe had changed boyfriends again. My heart couldn't help but tremble.
John deserves it. He really thought he was a prince, but in the end, he got dumped.
Emily looked furious.
I heard he was shamelessly pestering Chloe and got beaten up by her new boyfriend.
I didn't say anything.
What's wrong? John, that kind of man who forgets loyalty for beauty, probably just wanted Chloe's money. Now we see his true colors.
Yes, we see it clearly. Indeed, we see it clearly. Forgetting loyalty for beauty, craving money. It just means I'm ugly and poor. Feeling down after being hit by Emily's words, I lay on the sofa with a face mask on. Actually, I have a good foundation, but the 996 work schedule leaves me with no interest in makeup. Suddenly, the sound of the doorbell startled me.
Relieved, who could that be?
I opened the door to see David standing outside, scratching the back of his head and smiling.
Grace, can I borrow some soy sauce?
Cheerful, just a moment.
I handed him the soy sauce and closed the door after hearing his thanks. 5 minutes later.
Grace, can I borrow some vinegar?
5 minutes later.
Grace, can I borrow a plate? I forgot to buy one.
10 minutes later.
Grace, can I borrow a pot?
Serious?
I made him a bowl of fried rice with the leftovers from yesterday.
Grace, your cooking is really good.
There's a furniture store downstairs. Let's buy a pot tomorrow.
Grace, will you come with me?
Tomorrow is Thursday, I have to work.
His expression instantly changed from hopeful to disappointed.
Then I'll wait until you're free to buy it.
I was speechless. David had invited me to his place before. He had all sorts of gadgets I had never seen, but no pots or pans. It seemed like he was some young master coming to experience rural life.
I only have Sunday off. Are you not going to eat for the next few days?
I eat at school during the day and come to your place for dinner. Is that okay?
What a shamelessly handsome man. I fundamentally disapproved of this freeloading behavior. So I nodded. Emily invited me to go shopping on Sunday, but I declined after some thought.
Weren't you just saying last month that you wanted to go to the mall to buy new clothes? Why aren't you going now?
I have something to do.
Emily's expression gradually became suspicious.
Is it about your little boyfriend?
Great, after many days, Emily remembered David again.
Are you going on a date this Sunday?
Just accompanying him to buy some things.
Emily raised an eyebrow and smirked.
Could it be bedroom supplies?
To avoid things getting out of hand, I told her everything about David and what had happened recently. After listening, Emily seemed thoughtful.
First day, borrowing soy sauce. Second day, buying a pot. Third day, setting the table. Fourth day, climbing into bed. This pace is impressive.
I was speechless. After helping David buy a pot, I thought there would be some peace for a while. But he still came to my house for meals as usual.
David, you really enjoy your food, don't you?
Of course, Grace. Your cooking is amazing.
I couldn't help but think of Emily's words. Now that he's at the table, the next step. No. How could I have such thoughts? At 9 in the evening, David showed up at my door with foam on his head.
Grace, my water heater is broken. Can I use your bathroom?
His eyes were glistening, just like his bare upper body. I heard the sound of water coming from the bathroom. I curled up on the sofa, biting my nails. At this rate, isn't it progressing a bit too fast? You know, it took John and me a whole 6 months to move from flirting to an official relationship. And David and we've known each other for less than half a month. My karma came swiftly. The next day, while I was taking a shower, the water pipe burst.
There was a loud bang, followed by a deluge of water. I tried to clamp the pipe's outlet with all my strength, but the water pressure increased and hit me straight in the eyes. Pain surged through me.
Wrapped in a towel, I walked to the living room to call the property management. This apartment was old, and the management was notoriously unresponsive. I didn't have much hope.
Ding dong. The doorbell rang. It was David again.
The bathroom was flooding, and water was starting to spill out. Gritting my teeth, I pulled my towel up and opened the door for David.
Grace, what happened?
My towel barely covered my thighs.
The pipe burst. Can you fix it?
David took off his jacket and draped it over me.
I can try.
While he was fixing the pipes, I changed my clothes.
David, can you do it or not?
He was near the pipes, his white t-shirt already soaked and clinging to his body, revealing his well-toned physique.
A real man never says he can't.
Grace went in to help, and both of them ended up soaked. He laughed foolishly.
Grace, you took another shower, huh?
The doorbell rang. John suddenly rushed in, his eyes red, and pulled Grace into his arms. But he quickly let go.
What are you doing? Why are you all wet?
What are you doing here? You said we had nothing to do with each other anymore, so why are you back?
Grace opened the door to let him out. But John knelt down straight away.
Grace, I just realized that I love you. We can't just end our years of relationship like this. Chloe and I, it was just a moment of madness. You will forgive me, right? Grace.
Slap. Grace slapped him. Her palm stung with pain.
Don't call my name. Get out of here right now.
John clung to her leg, refusing to let go.
Grace, Chloe, and I were just playing around. She offered me $500,000 to be her boyfriend. Grace, I just wanted us to have a better life.
Grace looked at him coldly.
Where's the money?
John lowered his head. David slowly walked out of the bathroom.
Grace, do we have guests at home?
At some point, he had taken off his shirt and pulled me away from Michael with his bare chest. Michael was stunned. But soon, he became furious.
Sophie, you already had a boyfriend. How long has it been since we broke up, and you're already with someone else? You've really got some nerve finding yourself a pretty boy.
Olivia, he says I'm your pretty boy.
His breath brushed against my face. Instantly, my face turned red. John looked betrayed and raised his fist to swing at Grace.
How could you?
David grabbed John's wrist, looking relaxed. He even turned back to smile at Grace.
Grace, look at me. Am I doing okay?
Grace blushed. Flirting during a fight, really? These young people are really something else.
Sophie! Have you no shame? This house was bought by both of us.
David punched John. Grace couldn't help but take 2 steps back, noticing the muscles on David's arm. She didn't expect him to be so strong despite his slim appearance. When it comes to real action, he doesn't hold back at all.
Perfect, this house has bad feng shui. I've been wanting to move with Grace for a while.
Oh, bad feng shui?
David twisted John's wrist, turning him around in a criminal apprehension pose. Seeing John unable to resist, Grace actually found it somewhat amusing.
David, you really shouldn't.
Don't worry, Grace. I've got this.
The water from the bathroom was about to flood the living room. I pinched the bridge of my nose and picked up the phone to call the property management, trying to get through.
Hello, Ms. Brown. We are aware of your situation and will send someone to repair it tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yes, indeed.
By tonight, the flood will have submerged the Dragon King Temple.
The property management and the 2 men fighting in my house. All useless. David had John pinned down on the floor.
Hey, do you know how to fix a pipe?
You think I'll fix it just because you ask?
Can't win a fight, can't fix a pipe either.
John flared up again.
Let go of me!
He broke free from David and rushed to the bathroom. David bent down and smiled at me.
Grace, he can fix it.
I could see it clearly now, not doing any work but still taking credit. Cunning little dog. John stormed out angrily.
It's fixed.
What's the use of finding this kind of man? He just fails at critical moments.
David nodded quickly.
Yes, thank you, bro. How much is the repair fee?
I couldn't help but laugh. David was treating John like a repairman.
She's just interested in you for now. You'll know when she leaves you.
It was clear that John was speaking from experience. Emily's daily task was to calculate how many days it would take for David to climb into bed.
As it turned out, David came to my house for dinner every day.
My house has no electricity, no water, and no internet.
Luckily, he still had a bed at his place, otherwise, it would have turned into a cohabitation situation. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. I was preoccupied, and it affected my appetite. David noticed something was wrong.
Not hungry today?
Are you?
Before I could finish, his phone rang. He stood on the balcony to take the call, smiling. I remembered what Emily had said.
If he only sees you at fixed times, he must have other Megans. He might even be juggling 8 of them.
I was scared, not ready to have my feelings toyed with again. Like John, who reappeared when he needed me and left when he didn't. I looked at David's unfinished bowl. I silently made up my mind.
Later, I would dump the food on his head and coolly tell him to get lost.
I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
Jessica? Isn't she the one who changes boyfriends every month?
Yes, and John was her 9th. He broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person.
That's ridiculous. How can he be so naive?
I told Emily about this, expecting her to scold me. Unexpectedly, she praised me fiercely.
That's right. You need to dig up all the dirt on this person so that we women can take control.
I nodded, half understanding. Emily said, do this first, then that, and finally this. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th.
He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man.
Clearly, he thought he was that person.
I always knew David came from a privileged background.
Let me get the door for you.
He opened the passenger door for me and gentlemanly shielded the car edge. I sat down and glanced at the car logo on the steering wheel. I recognized this logo. Chloe also had this car. At that time, Emily and I were so envious that we even estimated it with our own salaries. We finally concluded if we had started working 200 years ago, we could afford it now. David seemed to notice how nervous I was and kept telling me jokes.
Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field.
I had no idea where he learned them, but he told them the entire way. The car stopped in front of a hotel.
Wait here at the entrance while I park in the underground garage.
I quickly took out my phone and called Emily. I'm about to go in. Could this be a trap?
If you notice anything wrong, send me a 1 immediately, and I'll drive over to rescue you.
Okay.
Sophie, have you been waiting long?
He walked over and took my arm.
So what should I call you? David?
He raised an eyebrow, seemingly pleased with the name.
Either is fine.
A wave of admiration sounded from the crowd.
Wow, David is here.
They were all young people, which made me even more nervous.
Don't be afraid.
I felt a surge of emotion, and he whispered again.
Don't give us away.
As Olivia looked around the room, she noticed many men without dates. David had lied to her. This wasn't just any gathering, it was an auction, a jewelry auction. A bracelet had a starting bid of $3 million.
David, what is this place? My salary can't even cover a tiny gem on that bracelet.
Do you like it?
I do like it, but it's way out of my budget.
David smiled and raised his paddle.
$350,000!
What kind of novel has my life turned into?
Megan, standing nearby, chuckled softly and leaned towards me. She was beautiful, her eyes like scanners taking in every detail of me. I couldn't help but feel a bit self-conscious.
Olivia, where did you buy your necklace? Can you send me the link?
Great. My necklace was worth $8.50.
It might not suit you.
Megan curled her lips, and I saw a hint of mockery in her eyes.
Really? I'm just curious about brands I've never seen before.
David glanced back at her, then raised his paddle.
$8 million for the sapphire necklace. Grace, do you like it? You've always liked this designer, I remember.
I encountered Megan again in the restroom. With no one else around, she made no effort to hide her emotions, her high heels clacking loudly as she approached me.
Olivia, people need dignity, just like trees need bark. Don't be like this.
Megan, watch your words. Accusing me without basis is slander.
Megan sneered and pulled out a photo, which was clearly an engagement invitation. The groom's name was David.
David already has a fiancé, and you're still clinging on? At your age. Have some self-respect.
A bolt of lightning struck through my mind as I saw the name on the invitation. Fiancé?
David is just momentarily interested. Someone like you, Olivia, wouldn't even consider.
Why lie to me? And such a big lie.
Emily messaged me, asking about my progress. I slowly typed a 1. Emily rushed over, and as I sat in her car, I didn't know where to start.
What did he do to you? Did he bully you?
Is he a jerk? Or are his friends just terrible?
Sophie, say something.
I looked at the road ahead and calmly said,
I almost became the other woman.
What?
Emily slammed on the brakes, and if it weren't for the seatbelt, I would have flown into the windshield.
He has a fiancée and still took me to meet his friends.
What a scumbag among scumbags!
Well, even scumbags can be like shattered jewels.
I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. I hesitated whether to talk to him face to face. Only listening to Megan's side of the story would be unfair to David. Then Emily called me.
You need to get over this guy. Come stay at my place for a few days, and we'll get rid of this little jerk together.
For some reason, I thought of David's wet puppy eyes again. It made me feel like he wouldn't lie. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Could it be David? A trace of excitement rose in my heart. I opened the door to find an elegantly dressed Mrs. Smith. She didn't look at me first, but rather at how shabby my home was.
Are you the woman David brought home last night?
Who are you, Olivia?
Where is it convenient to talk?
I invited her in and poured her a cup of tea. My mind was filled with novel plots, the heroine running away, the young master heartbroken, and the old mother pleading for the heroine to return.
Ms. Brown, perhaps you don't understand the situation. David already has a fiancée and is about to return home. I hope you won't interfere with them.
She took a card out of her bag and pushed it in front of me.
This card has $500,000 and I also bought you a house in your hometown. You can disappear without a trace. These are my personal gifts to you, hoping you understand my intentions.
I sneered and threw the card on the ground. $500,000?
What? You actually love him so much?
Isn't that too little?
Then how much do you want?
10 million, or I'll crash the wedding. I believe David would be willing to go with me.
You?
Fine. Indeed, people don't know their potential until they're pushed. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
Jessica? The one who changes boyfriends every month?
Yes, exactly. John was her 9th.
He left you for her?
He did. He believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th.
I'm sorry, but I think it's best if we end things.
He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. People with high status often overlook those like Sarah. Sophia, who had just returned from abroad, confronted her with unwarranted arrogance.
Sarah told me you're the one who interfered, knowing he had a fiancée. Disgusting.
Sarah looked at Sophia, who was impeccably dressed, without a hint of disarray.
Yes, so what are you going to do about it?
Sophia seemed taken aback by Sarah's bold response.
What to do? Oh.
As Sophia raised her hand to slap Sarah, Sarah calmly opened her chat history with Emily and displayed a photo.
Is this you?
Chloe, known for charming all the handsome men, was caught in the act by Emily's hobby of collecting their WeChat contacts. Sarah flipped through the photos.
Is this you? The fiancé who just got off the plane. So is this your twin in the country?
Chloe's face turned pale as she saw the photos of her with various men.
Are you threatening me?
You can silence me.
Chloe handed Sarah a card.
There's $500,000 in here.
Sarah shook her head, unimpressed.
No need, Miss Chloe. I think your future husband and in-laws would be very interested in your monthly achievements.
Sarah stood up to leave, but Chloe grabbed her hand, her eyes filled with desperation.
So, desperate to get David? He and I are just in a superficial marriage. You can be his mistress after we get married. Don't worry. His mom has him locked up at home right now. Once we're married, you can have your affair.
Sarah, unable to contain her anger, slapped Chloe.
You're crazy. How dare you hit me?
Sarah's hand was still warm from the slap, and her whole body trembled with anger.
Chloe, don't be despicable.
Getting caught in the rain himself, he wanted to tear apart someone else's umbrella.
I really didn't want Chloe to have it easy. She made me see John clearly, but David...
The note he left me is still kept in a box. The handwriting is a bit messy.
It might have been written in a hurry while he was squatting outside my door that night.
I looked at the writing. I missed him a bit. I went to his school and ran into a boy I had seen at an auction.
With some clever questioning, I managed to get David's home address. T was in a high-end villa area, impossible to enter without an ID card. Oh, I applied for a job as a security guard there.
On my first day, Mr. Johnson asked me why someone so young would want to be a security guard.
Why would someone so young want to be a security guard?
It's always been my dream.
Mr. Johnson believed me and said he would focus on training me.
I'll make sure you get the best training possible.
He taught me everything hands-on, and I managed to get the residents' information.
Avid's car plate number matched the house at Block 04 in Area A. After dark, I patrolled with a flashlight.
Here we go.
I headed straight for Block 04.
Limbing over the fence and through the garden to the second floor, I threw pebbles at the curtained window. Remembered Mr. Johnson saying that Area A was the most expensive villa area, and it would take 8 lifetimes of hard work to move in, but there was a Lin family house that was rarely occupied, except for their youngest son. T had to be David. After throwing nearly 5 pebbles, almost breaking the window, David finally showed his handsome face.
Grace, how did you find this place?
I'm a security guard here.
You really have a way.
David, have you forgiven me? Although I don't know what I did wrong.
David was as obedient as ever.
I'm just surprised you're getting engaged.
It's not true, it's not.
David looked nervous, stammering as he spoke.
I've never even met that so-called fiancé. My mom insisted, and when I disagreed, she locked me up at home, so I couldn't see you.
Just as I had imagined. David was innocent.
Grace.
He reached out and hugged me through the window. I could feel he had lost weight.
That was my first kiss.
What?
The kiss at the concert.
My face instantly turned red, not out of shyness, but embarrassment.
It's okay, I don't mind.
Hey, what are you doing there?
A patrolling guard downstairs shone a flashlight at us, and I felt a wave of panic, fearing I might lose my job.
The guard was about to shout again when David pulled me into the room.
I leaned against his chest.
Your heart is beating so fast.
Olivia.
I stood on my own feet, placing my hand on my chest.
T turned out to be my own heartbeat.
I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica. Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her 9th. He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. Olivia and I were having a heated conversation.
Do you think a headline like, "Wealthy Family Marriage. Wife's Infidelity and Husband's Lover" is sensational enough to make the front page of our city's news?
What are you talking about? Are you out of your mind because you can't be with David?
I placed my phone in front of her, showing her some damning evidence.
Olivia, I understand you don't think highly of someone like me and want David to stay away from me. But do you really want David to be with a woman like this in the future?
The photos showed Chloe entering and leaving a hotel, along with shocking room records. I played the recording.
You want David so badly? He and I are just in a superficial marriage. You can be his mistress after we get married. Don't worry, his mom has him locked up at home now, but once we're married you can have your affair.
I watched Olivia's expression turn from bad to worse, finally showing barely suppressed anger.
Olivia, do you want David to spend his life with someone like this?
Olivia turned her face away. David, however, spoke up first.
I don't want to. I haven't met her, and I don't like her now.
If not Miss Chloe, there are others. There will always be someone you'll be satisfied with.
No, only Grace. I only want Grace.
David intertwined his fingers with mine.
I'm satisfied with her. I want her.
Her family is too poor. She's not a match for you.
I was speechless. It's true, the poor are always looked down upon.
Olivia, I have a net worth of 20 million now.
And someone gave you 10 million?
She looked surprised, then seemed to understand something, sighed, and glanced at David.
Such a waste.
I remained silent. Your son gave me 10 million, and you gave him 10 million. It's all the same. Narrator, tone, sad I broke up with my boyfriend, John, because he met a girl named Jessica.
Jessica changes boyfriends every month, and my boyfriend was her ninth.
He resolutely broke up with me because he believed that every Casanova who settles down meets an innocent young man. Clearly, he thought he was that person. I took off my security uniform and officially started dating David.
Avid held my hand as we strolled through the university. Assursby frequently turned their heads to look at us. When we passed a coffee shop, he suddenly stopped and pointed to a window seat.
Do you like the coffee here too?
I was a bit happy. The shops near the university were all very affordable, so Emily and I often came here to eat and drink.
A year ago, you were sitting right there.
David's tone softened, as if telling a story.
I was standing here watching you. You had long hair and were wearing a pink down jacket. When you drank coffee, there was foam on your lips. Your friend laughed at you, and you licked your lips and continued drinking, getting another layer of foam.
I had long forgotten about that incident a year ago, but David remembered it clearly.
I thought you were adorable.
David and I entered the coffee shop.
Hey, let's sit over there.
He sat in the spot where Emily used to sit. We ordered 2 cups of coffee.
2 cappuccinos, please.
I still got foam on my lips, just like before.
You've got something on your lips.
He leaned on the table with both hands and kissed me. He kissed the foam on my lips. David and I got engaged, and the rumored high society marriage was turned into an ugly duckling's transformation story. I have to admit, those headlines were quite fitting.
Grace, you always think you're too frugal. So, I bought the most expensive things for you.
Olivia, please don't do this.
Stop pretending.
On the day of the engagement, Grace wore a light-colored dress. Many people were seated in the audience. She had specially invited Emily, John, and Chloe.
I won't have any tears left for your wedding, Grace.
It's okay, Emily. Thank you for being here.
John and Chloe were also on the verge of tears, probably tears of frustration. Burly security guards stood nearby, ready to act if needed. David lifted Grace's hand, kissed the back of it, and opened the ring box. A 5-carat diamond ring sparkled inside.
David!
A hint of panic flashed in David's eyes, followed by a sly smile.
Grace, kiss kiss.
Since we were already engaged, Olivia asked me to move from the apartment. Avid accompanied me to pack my things.
I pointed to the door opposite.
Why did you decide to move here?
He held me in his arms.
Of course, it was intentional, fiancé.
He smiled, his eyes twinkling with mischief.
All of it was intentional. Sitting next to you at the concert, moving to the door opposite you, having no condiments, it was all intentional.
A cunning man.